Advance and be recognized, everyone, and welcome to the Sitrep podcast, your forward operations base for all things military and historical wargaming. I am your host, Oriskany Jim, and today we are finally getting back to, as promised, some modern era content. We're going to be looking at the Vietnam War, specifically the hill battles around Khe Sanh in April and May of 1967. Now, of course, this is very different from the more famous siege of Khe Sanh, which took place from January to March of 1968. Our game today is something of an experiment. Just to see if it would work, I'm running today's Vietnam battle as sort of a test balloon scenario with Avalon Hill's classic Panzer Leader system. Of course, I'm bringing in plenty of rules and charts from the Arab-Israeli Wars edition, as well as additional rules from the Tactical Combat Middle East expansion. But even with all this, there's going to be a fair amount of house rules and scenario-specific rules in today's game. Panzer Leader in Vietnam might seem like a bit of an odd choice. I mean, let's face it, there weren't that many tank battles in Vietnam, and what few there were aren't really big enough for Panzer Leader scenarios. But we gotta remember, even in the original Panzer Leader box set, there were scenarios that didn't have a single tank on the scenario card. This goes doubly true if you're talking about expansions like Power Leader and Desert Leader. The real problem, though, is finding a set-piece engagement big enough for a good Panzer Leader scenario. Now, of course, the Vietnam War had plenty of big battles in it, but how many can you really find that will put battalions and even regiments on a battlefield just a couple miles across, the average real estate covered by your typical Panzer Leader scenario? Now, of course, there are a few, and the one that I picked for today's scenario was one of, again, the hill battles to the northwest of the Khe Sanh Fire Support Base. This is part of Operation Prairie IV in April and May 1967. Khe Sanh was an important Marine Corps airfield and artillery fire support base deep in the western mountains of the 1st Corps Tactical Zone, right up against the Laotian border and the so-called DMZ with North Vietnam. Naturally, the People's Army of Vietnam, sometimes called the North Vietnamese Army or the NVA, wanted Khe Sanh eradicated. They deployed their 325C Division out of Laos, intent on taking all the hilltops north and west of Khe Sanh. From here, they could bombard Khe Sanh at will, while the American artillery would be hard-pressed to respond against these elevated firing positions. For the Marines, the job fell, as it so often does, to the infantry, and soon units of the 3rd Regiment, 3rd Marine Division, had orders to drive northwest out of Khe Sanh and retake and clear all of these hilltops, thus denying them as firing positions for the Communist artillery. The first peak to be assaulted was Hill 861, which actually turned out to be a surprisingly easy battle, believe it or not. Of course, the 1,800 artillery shells and 260 tons of bombs that the Marines dropped on the position ahead of time might have had something to do with it. In truth, the NVA had largely abandoned the position, and when the Marines moved into occupied, they found that the NVA had prepared the ground with 25 bunker complexes, surrounded by over 400 other supporting defensive positions. Now the Marines pivoted west against Hills 881 North and 881 South. 4 companies of 2nd and 3rd Battalions, 3rd Marines, launched the assault on 30th of April, 1967. Once again, they were supported by heavy artillery and airstrikes, along with some mules. These were sort of utility tractors retrofitted with 106mm recoilless rifles. UH-1E Huey helicopter gunships were also sorted in support. This is the game we have on our table today. My opponent is Damon, playing the Marines, while I have my NVA regulars of 18th Regiment, 325C Division, all set up and deployed, completely in secret. All of my counters are under a series of concealment panels, which will only be revealed once Damon gets one of his units into that particular area of the map. But at the start, he's going in completely blind. This is just one of the many special rules that we'll be covering as we progress through the video. We've got NVA bunker complexes and rocket barrages, F-4 Phantoms coming in, dropping Snake and Nape. We've got Seahorse troop transports. Honestly, it's just way too much to go through all at once. For now, it's time to saddle up and fall in. The NVA is dug in and hidden up in those hills. Let's see if our leathernecks can go in, take them out. Okay, and here we are with our game set up and ready to go. I am joined today by my friend Damon, who is playing the Marines. Damon, how are you today?
I'm alright, mate, thanks. How are you?
Okay, so as I described briefly in the introduction, I'm playing the North Vietnamese Army of the 325C Division. They are already deployed. Notice you don't see them on the map. We are set up underneath these 9 concealment panels. So what's going to happen is they're going to remain concealed until basically Damon runs into them. Meanwhile, we have Damon deploying his Marines. So Damon, without giving away too much of your plan to the opponent who is listening in on your radio, what are we thinking about here for your deployment?
So we've got a whole battalion strung out in a sort of line, ready to foot slog forward, probe the position, find out what's going on.
And then you've got a little motorized column back here on the road.
Yep, some flying column in support, some motorized stuff. It's mobile on the road, but it can't go very far away from the road, so we need to find where the NVA are and then sort of try and get heavy-handed. And we've also got some air mobile support as well that we can maybe drop into some of the terrain that's not so accommodating for the road vehicles.
Right, we got 2 UHE gunships in support and then 2 UH-34 Seahorses. Okay, so the whole thing is now set up. Cool, turn 1 is now underway. Alright, so there's nothing to shoot at, there's no off-board artillery yet. The airstrikes can't see anything clearly. So I guess we're going to go ahead and start with your movement phase on turn 1.
So the northern infantry unit are going to head due west, heading across into the woods in 1502.
Okay, now infantry don't have to pay going through woods, everybody, until they're going like up really steep hills. There's special rules for that. He's going to go into 1503 or 1502?
1503, so that gives me some line of sight.
Okay, boom. He has now uncovered one of our panels. So I'm going to select just that one panel and reveal it. We do have some noise in the woods. Your point men have kind of whispered to your squad leaders in those 2 platoons. There are enemy troops somewhere ahead.
The trees are talking Vietnamese.
There you go. But now enemy units are revealed, so on Damon's turn 2, he can start to call in either blind artillery missions or airstrikes. He also has some onboard mortars. He does have a lot of options for engaging the enemy, even if he isn't in hex-to-hex contact with them. So like I said, we'll finish up Damon's movement and see where we stand. Okay, I said I was going to come back at the end of Damon's movement, but turns out that's not going to be the case, because what's going to happen is this company here is going to, they are Marines. They're going to go down that road into those woods, and then they're going to jump into this open terrain here and launch an immediate close assault here on this rifle platoon. It sounds kind of crazy until you actually look at the terrain carefully. This rifle platoon is blocked opportunity fire-wise by the elevation in 1406. Clearly, this platoon in 1308 is blocked by the woods of 1408. He won't be able to offer immediate assistance. And this guy down here in the creek bed is blocked because he's actually blocked by 2 hexes, 1409 and 1508. So we will have some opportunity fire from the actual target platoon itself, and he's going to go ahead and try and take his 6 points against one of these 8-point platoons. 6 versus 8. So we will go ahead and take our 1-2 shot here. Again, 6 versus 8 is 1-2. I roll a 5, that is no effect. So a little bit of panic fire out of the tree line does no good. And now the Marines launch their close assault. 1, 2, 3 7s make 21, divide by 6. That is 3-to-1 odds. Subtract 2 from the die roll. Add 1 to the die roll for woods. So 3-to-1, net subtract 1.
1.
That's a 0, he's smoked. Alright, so we have our first NVA kill, and the Marines have taken no casualties. Pretty awesome. Okay, American turn 1 is now complete. There wasn't a whole lot else besides that close assault. So now we are beginning NVA turn 1, and the first thing we have to do for the NVA is call in their off-board artillery. They do have an off-board battery of 130mm howitzers. Here's the thing though, I can only call them in with my command post. I can't call them in from any of my other random NVA platoons, because officers are much different, obviously, in the North Vietnamese Army. But I do know where I have it kind of recorded, where my command post is. He can see a lot, But believe it or not, he cannot see that Marine Rifle Company there in the open, because there is immediately obstructing terrain right in front of him from his vantage point. So I do have an artillery mission called in, and now I'm going to, there's no direct fire because nothing really has a line of sight at the moment. So I'm going to go straight to NVA movement. One part of me wants to move these guys back. You know what, I'll go ahead and I'll split the difference. 1, 2, some of these guys are going to fall back. 1, 2, he's going to stay where he is, he's going to stay where he is. It looks like Damon's whole push, at least at first, is heading up towards 881 north. He's not throwing a lot down here towards 881 south. I'll go ahead and reveal this panel just because, again, one of the special rules is if the NVA does any movement, they do reveal what's in that panel. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that. I had nothing under there anyway, so I just gave away some information. Oh well. I was afraid that maybe I had some stuff left there. I was going to shift it to the north. But no worries. So now that I've given that away, that's going to be the end of NVA Turn 1, Marine Turn 2, and we're going to start off with your artillery, because now you do have some stuff, if not spotted, you have it revealed. So you can at least call in some blind artillery missions if you want. Okay, we are now in American Turn 2, like I said. Damon has plotted his offboard artillery. He's choosing to reserve your airstrikes. I'm not sure why, Damon. You don't want to bombard all these jungle hexes that you can't really see anything in?
No, they're not talking Vietnamese loud enough yet.
What he is going to do is call in a blind mortar mission, so he can easily see the target hex. This is swamp in front of him. Swamp does not count as elevation, so it does not count as intervening terrain for LOS purposes. Therefore, he's got a line of sight there. That's the good news. The bad news is he is obscured in a woods hex, and that unit is not spotted yet. So we will be using our special rules for blind artillery missions. He's allowed to do it, but it will. He does have to do it at a +1 DRM. This is in addition to the +1 DRM for being in jungle hex anyway. So, per Arabist Really War rules, any M-class weapon on direct fire automatically doubles. So that 6 goes to a 12. 12 divided by 6 is an even 2 to 1. The bad news is he will be rolling on a +2.
2 becomes 4.
4 at a 2 to 1 does disperse him. And that 81 millimeter battery is spotted. Somebody just saw that. I think that's going to wrap things up for your direct fire. Are you ready to go to movement, Damon?
Yep. We'll go with the vehicles. And they're going to push on down the road to 1309.
Okay, so the gun trucks are just going to blast down here. Oh boy, cool. Yeah, this guy is going to go ahead. Well, he's spotted anyway, because now you're adjacent to him. In fact, let me go ahead and take care of that. But what he's going to do now is take opportunity fire against one of the gun trucks. So that is 6 for I-class weapons versus 5 is going to be 1-to-1 odds. I don't think I can kill him. I guess we will see. With a 5, I don't. Alright, so even in the open, that was no effect. My NVA are not rolling very well so far. Okay, so that takes care of my opportunity fire. Alright, any other movement?
The rest of the trucks will come down the road behind them.
Now that these NVA have sort of shot their wad, so to speak. They're dispersed, and they've now taken opportunity fire. Okay, we have now completed movement for the Marines on turn 2. So now we have what looks like Mike 33 or Kilo 39 is now going to launch another close assault against this NVA rifle platoon. So again, it is going to be 21 versus 6, another 3 to 1. Add 1 to the die roll for wood, subtract 2 for close assault, so 3 to 1, subtract 1.
6 becomes a 5.
6 becomes a 5, they are pinned down. And that is going to wrap up Marine Turn 2, NVA Turn 2. So I will call in my next turn's artillery. I have now recorded it. I will now resolve last turn's artillery, which, surprise, surprise, lands right here on this mortar section. I do have one battery of M46s, 130mm howitzers. It attacks at 16. So 16 versus 3, 5 to 1. However, I am adding 3 to my die roll 2 for the improved position and 1 for the woods. Okay, so 5 to 1, add 3 to the die roll. A 4 becomes a 7 on 3 to 1. That's going to wrap up NVA artillery, and then we'll go to NVA direct fire, which there won't be any. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to rally these 2 platoons that were previously dispersed. So first I'll try to rally this platoon. NVA is considered morale B. He does rally, and the guy down in the creek bed fails to rally. That's it for direct fire. We now go to NVA movement. I think I'll slide these guys back under concealment where nobody can see them. They vanish into the jungle. How cool is that? This guy can't move, this guy can't move. That's going to wrap up NVA movement. I can't close assault because this guy has already done his attack. That was his rally phase. But that's going to wrap up NVA turn 2, and we'll be back. Let's see what the Marines do on turn 3. Okay, we're now in American turn 3. Damon has called in his artillery for turn 4, and now we're going to resolve the fire mission he called in from last turn. And Damon, where did you say that was going to land?
It's coming down on the unit that are currently suppressed in the creek.
Oh no! So I'm assuming that was both batteries of 105s back at Khe Sanh?
Yes, please.
Alright, so...
overkill.
That's okay. Never be afraid of overkill. It's going to be surprisingly tough to dig some of these guys out of improved positions, out of tree lines, and God help you out of fortifications when you get to that. Total of 36 points versus 6. 6 to 1 odds. Okay, now we're going to be adding 1 to the die roll for woods, subtracting 1 from the die roll for being dispersed, and a double D will do it, as we like to say. So again, for people maybe not familiar with the Panzer Leader system, an X on the CRT, Combat Results Table, otherwise known as the kill chart, an X is a destroyed unit. A D means the unit is dispersed. However, if it's a double D, and it's inflicted against a unit that was already pinned down, that is now read as a kill. It's 6 to 1, even if it wasn't dispersed, even without the double D, you literally can't fail. A 6 would kill him. Actually, so would a 7, so would an 8, because the double D does count as a kill. You would have to roll a 9 on a D6 to miss. Obviously...
That's a challenge.
Yep, yeah. Damon's dice are famously bad. They're not that bad. I can't roll a 9 on a D6. Boom, that unit is now smoking. That's the second NVA platoon destroyed in the game so far. We then go to your direct fire. And call me crazy, you might have some direct fire.
A bit.
But you do have 2 gun trucks with 50 calibers and 30 calibers, 150 meters away from enemy units that are spotted.
Yeah, we'll give them the good news.
It would be tough to tell these guys to not fire. Guys, these are new units I created for this scenario. They're just loaded with 50s and 30s and God knows what else. And your units can use the mounted infantry fire rules per Arab Israeli Wars. You've got a Marine weapons platoon. So we definitely got the 2 gun trucks for sure. That's 16 points so far. Did you want to fire everything?
Yeah, there's no disadvantage to not firing it, so...
Great, so you might as well. So we've got 15 there. 25, 33 points versus, so far, 33 points versus 6. So far you're at 5 to 1, add 1 to the die roll.
2.
Alright, 2, you got him. 2 becomes a 3. Because of Woods, he is smoked. Alright, so now we're at 3 NVA units killed. So far, all NVA units have either been destroyed in place or have bugged out. So, yeah, as you can see right now, there's no more NVA units on the table. Once again, the jungle has entered that eerie quiet. We'll see what happens later on in the turn. Okay, we're now into American turn 4. NVA artillery has been called in and plotted, but honestly, it didn't hit very much. Wasn't a whole lot for Damon to do in his direct fire phase, because, I mean, there's nothing really for him to shoot at. So he's going to go into his movement phase. And I'm sorry, you said that your northern element was going to go...
0901.
Okay, so that is this from my company, 3-3 Marines, is going to head through the woods 1, 2 to 0901. Cool, there he is. Delete. Okay, so you went right past a full company of NVA, including recoilless rifles. So we're going to take double opportunity fire there. Okay, so the 2 PAV and rifle platoons, the 2 6s, are going to go ahead and shoot into the Marine weapons platoon when it was still down here in 1002. Alright, that's going to be 2 6s versus 1 6, 2 to 1 odds. I have to add 1 for the jungle terrain. Oh man, 5 becomes a 6, no effect! And he completes his movement. That was it for my opportunity fire. Let's go ahead and finish up more of your movement.
The other infantry unit will move into 1005.
Alrighty.
So there's the southern unit.
Okay.
That unit there heading to 1006.
Cool. Ooh, okay, so as he clips the corner of this other reveal panel, I'll go ahead and reveal this. Oh boy. That's not good. We might lose some Marines here. Yeah. Alright, but I'll wait for my direct fire phase to do that. That's not going to be fun.
I'm on top of one of your units there, by the look of it.
Yeah, you literally crashed into one of my... Okay, so there's going to be an immediate close assault there. You literally just walked into some of my guys. That's something that you'll never see in a real Panzer Leader, is units literally in the same hex. Yeah, let's do that real quick. So 6 versus 8, 1 to 2, and 1 to the die roll. This is my opportunity fire, which I have to do now. 2 becomes a 3 on 1 to 2. I think I did disperse one of them. Again, everybody, we're using the Tactical Combat Middle East CRT, which is a little punchier than Standard Arab is really worse. So, yeah, it's almost like it happened because you tried to move into that hex. There's an automatic, it's basically an ambush. So they're already in sort of close combat. So these two 17s against the 6, that's 2 to 1. Subtract 2 from the die roll for a close attack, add 1 to the die roll for woods.
3.
3 becomes a 2 at 2 to 1. That doesn't. And now these guys do actually complete their movement. I know this is weird, guys, in the audience, but we're experimenting with these new hidden deployment rules. Are these mortars lined up for anything yet?
Not yet. No. We try some blind firing.
Yeah. Now for an audience, this will be a blind mission. We do allow howitzers, mortars, airstrikes to hit targets that units are not spotted in at a penalty. Saturation fire, they're going to bombard everything in the hex. Now you have to be able to see the hex, and we've resolved that. But the units in the hex are not technically spotted yet because they haven't fired. Now, normally Damon would wait for me to fire, but he's trying to save some of these trucks. It's up to you, Damon, how you want to resolve this.
Both at the southern one.
Alright, cool. So that's what we're doing there. Well, the recoilless rifles are 2, so that's going to be 12 to 1 odds. Oh, sorry, you're adding 4 to the die roll. 2 for the improved position, 1 for the woods, 1 for a blind mission.
6.
6 becomes a 10. That is, it only goes up to 8 plus. So, actually 8 plus is dispersed. So, we'll go ahead and call that a dispersal.
Told you I'd use my good roll.
There you go. Alright, so that's a little bit less recoilless rifle fire. That's 57mm recoilless rifle that won't be coming in. So that's all of your movement, right? Unless you're calling in helicopters.
I still don't know they're there, do I? I'm just blind firing.
No, those 6s, again, the helicopters, again, just for people who are watching this later, the helicopters basically have 2 weapons. They have their 30 cals, their M60s, their 50 cals, so they've got the 6 and 4 they can shoot all day. They also have a larger rocket strike, but they can only use that once a game. You could use them against this hex if you wanted to. And I probably wouldn't use my rockets, but machine guns...
I'll do a gun run.
Okay.
With both of them, and then I'll probably find out where the AAA is now.
Oh, never mind. We just found the Dushka. Oh, I'm glad the camera was on for that. Okay, the Dushka will take a shot. Alright, 6 against 16, it's 1 to 3 odds. You never know, I might disperse one of them. Do it! 6, hell no, we're all rolling 6s. We're all chucking those bricks. Alright, so now the Dushka has now fired his opportunity fire. Look at the bright side, that's less 50 caliber fire coming at your trucks. Now you can go ahead and shoot. Your 2 machine guns, that's 6 I-class weapons, each 12 points. So,
I'll go for
you want to shoot them at the 82mm recoilless rifles?
Yep.
The V10s. Alright, so there we go. 2 6s make 12 versus 2 is 6 to 1. Again, you're adding 4 to the die roll.
2
becomes a 6. At 6 to 1, you just killed them. 50 cals and 30 cals, they just filled that hex with bullets until somebody got lucky. Nice. You may have saved at least one of those trucks. I can't fire with the Dushka because I took opportunity fire. This recoilless rifle section is now dispersed, leaving me only with one heavy weapons platoon because of the way you set up your column there. Good job there, and the way you used mortars and helicopters to suppress these suddenly discovered enemy defenses. Okay, are there any close assaults besides the one that we already kind of resolved?
The northern unit have gone too far, haven't they?
Oh no, they can attack southwards.
Oh yeah, we'll do that then.
So we have 17 versus 6. That is just short of 3 to 1. It's 2 to 1. Subtract 1 from the die roll net at your convenience.
3 becomes a 2. Yes,
It just does it. It just does it. Holy crap! Uncle Ho, what's happening? We now go to.
And my mules fire.
I'm sorry. Oh, that's right. We skipped that. We did skip that. All right, cool. Yes, your mules do fire. So they are technically anti-tank weapons. They're recoilless rifles, but they have the A star for their weapons class. That's another house rule. What that basically means is they don't double like H weapons, but at the same time they don't divide like A weapons normally have to do when shooting at non-armored targets. So it's 32 total attack factors. You will be adding 3 to your die roll though.
Yeah, so we'll shoot at the recoilless then.
Alright, so it is 16 to 1 odds. It goes up to 7, that's as high as it goes. So they can technically... I don't think they can technically. You might disperse them, because you are adding 3 to the die roll.
Mm-hmm.
7, 1, add 3.
4 becomes
4
a...
becomes a 7, and that is him destroyed. Okay, we're now into NVA turn 4. I have called in my artillery for turn 5. I'm now resolving my artillery landing on turn 4, and it is back on these mortars that I have spotted from before. 16 versus 3, so 5 to 1, this column here, adding 3 to the die roll. 2 becomes a 5 on the 5 to 1 odds. I finally killed somebody. Okay, the Marines have now officially taken casualties. Direct fire, this guy already took opportunity fire. This Dushka section already took opportunity fire, and this only thing left is this heavy weapons section. So this heavy weapons section is going to open fire on the lead truck at point blank range. He is 8, well that does technically double to 16. 16 versus 2, because everyone's loaded up in the truck. That is going to be 8 to 1, but it's really 7 to 1 odds. There's no modifiers. So that is going to be him wrecked, and that is going to be him spotted. He is not blocked by immediately intervening terrain. It would have to be one of these adjacent hexes. I'm going to go ahead and fire my one and only shot with my 140mm rockets. He's going to come down. It's a 15H parentheses weapon, so it does not double within half. However, it does affect everything in the hex. So again, this is my 140mm rocket battery. Special scenario rule, I only get to shoot these guys once a game, because then they have to reload the rocket and everything else like that. And on top of that, they're mostly firing at Khe Sanh itself. So we are talking about 15. This is my one and only shot with these per game. So it's going to be 15 versus 6. That's 2 to 1. Add 1 to the die roll. 2, he's destroyed. 16 versus 8. No, 15 versus 8 is 1 to 1, excuse me. Add 1 to the die roll. I cannot kill him, but I might disperse him. 4 becomes a 5, did not disperse. Second rifle platoon. 2 becomes a 3, did disperse. And those are my most powerful rockets. Alright, that just reminds me not to shoot them again. And now, oh, that hex is spotted. But they are in a fort. So that's that whole hex is half underground anyway. And yeah, needless to say, the battle for Hill 881 North is now well underway. Any commentary from you, Mr. Damon?
No, it was about what I was expecting. I was expecting to run into something unpleasant at some point.
Okay, we're into American turn 5. Damon has called in his artillery, and sure enough, he did target this hex, woods hex next to the objective. So it is 2 18s for 36. However, he is in a fort. So everything in there gets to add 10 to his defense. So it is 36 versus 12. We're going to go for the rockets first. That is technically 3 to 1. However, you have to add 2 for the fort and 1 for the woods. So it's 3 to 1, add 3 to the die roll.
4 becomes a 7.
On 3 to 1, I don't think that's a dispersal. No, just missed a dispersal. Alright, knock it down to 2 to 1 for the 82 millimeter mortars.
2.
2 becomes a 5 on 2 to 1. That does disperse the mortars. And then we're going to go to his direct fire.
What's this? The mules can fire again, can't they?
Yep, they can fire 32 points into this improved position here.
Yep.
So that's going to be 5 to 1, add 3 to the die roll.
6 becomes a 9.
No, at 5 to 1 is not even dispersal. Okay, so we're continuing Damon's direct fire. Everything in here fired at this section that destroyed those trucks earlier. I think we screwed this up before. Heavy weapons platoon is technically an H-class weapon, so that doubles within half of his range. So I think Damon got robbed a little bit earlier, but we're going to fix that now. 1, 2, 3, that is half of 6 as far as range goes. So that 10 should technically read as 20. We added everything up. You got 47 points versus 6. That's going to be just short of 7 to 1. And then, Mr. Damon, what did you roll?
I rolled a 1.
There you go, finally. So both of these guys are smoked. A little bit of payback for those poor guys on the road there. Those platoons are both destroyed. Okay, we're now at the end of Marine Turn 5. First thing Damon did, we fired off these 2 Huey gunships, right? With only their machine guns, Damon? What did you do there?
We managed to suppress the Dushka.
Nice. Alright, so this little AA position is now pinned down. That's significant for 2 reasons. Number 1, it prevents the Dushka from shooting down this slope into these trucks, which have already taken enough fire. So, and also it suppressed them so that these 2 Marine rifle platoons could fix bayonets the old Corps way and do a close assault. We're setting up a converging close assault here to the north, although these Marine heavy weapons are dispersed now. Alright, cool. So let's go ahead and finish up the Marine turn. We've got 14 versus 2. That's 7 to 1 odds. There's a lot of modifiers here. We have to add 2 for the improved position. We have to add 1 for the woods. We have to subtract 2 for the close assault. So it's a grand total of 7 to 1. Add 1 to the die roll. But this might be Damon proof. Yeah, because even if you roll a 7, an adjusted 7, in other words, a natural 6, it's still going to kill the unit. So in go some Mark 67 fragmentation grenades, and that's all she wrote on that position. Alrighty, then we go to this one over here. We've got 2 rifle platoons from converging directions. 14, this is going to be a little bit tougher because you're actually hitting a full platoon here. 14 versus 6, that's 2 to 1, add 1 to the die roll.
6.
That's going to be no effect. So those NVA riflemen are standing tall. They're Uncle Ho's little boys there. They stood point blank fire from both sections of mules, and they're taking pretty good defense against a converging close assault. We'll now go to the NVA on turn 5 as well. Yeah, spoiler alert, my artillery missed. My artillery landed on hex 805. For some reason I thought you were going to wind up there. NVA direct fire, there really isn't any, because I took a lot of opportunity fire last turn. I'm going to try to rally this mortar section here, you never know. NVA have a morale of B, so I need a 1 through a 4. A 5, he fails. So now we're going to go into movement just a little bit. I'm going to realign some of my defenses a little bit. Everything else is still hidden, and if I move it, I reveal it to the enemy. So I'm going to keep everything else hidden for now. And that's going to be it. That wraps up turn 5. We now go to American turn 6, and we'll be back with any further developments. Damon, how are you feeling about this Vietnam experimental game so far?
Yeah, it's going okay. Pretty much what I expected. When the Americans have got something to shoot at, they do a lot of damage. But when they get caught unawares, they take a bit of a kicking.
Yeah, the statistics show, now this is Marines and Army, so this is both branches of the service, that I think it was 91% of firefights were initiated by either the NVA or the Viet Cong. So, yeah, that was the problem. Once you got to grips with the NVA, or especially the Viet Cong, the NVA were tougher than the Viet Cong for sure. Once you got to grips with them, it was, all she wrote. Because American firepower is just, out of control. But that's the problem. The Vietnamese using concealment, obviously, denial of battle tactics, you're going to have a hell of a time finding them. And yeah, we still have 4 panels that I haven't even revealed yet, including one of the objective areas. But yeah, we'll come back for the second half of the game. We're now completed turn 5. We're halfway through. It's going to last 10 turns altogether. And yeah, we'll be back shortly to see where we stand. That's where we're going to leave it for now, folks. This video is already way too long, so I'm going to keep this outro short and sweet. Please come back next week to see if Damon's Marines can get the job done on Hill 881, and maybe keep some of this communist artillery off of Khe Sanh. So, as always, thank you very much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoy this content. Please remember to hit that notification bell. Also, please consider joining the Sitrep Podcast Discord. There is an auto-accept invitation link to our Discord in the description of this video. Join our community, see what everybody's up to, and best of all, show us what's happening on your hobby table. But for now, this is Oriskany Jim with the Sitrep Podcast. We are rounds complete for another episode. And as always, Tango Mike for watching.